Oh, wow. That's really cool. All right, let's keep going on this. See if I can presente. Share screen. All right. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's get it. Let's get it. All right. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Okay. What's going on, y'all? Happy Friday. I am going live here and, part of the weekly scheduled webinar here where I go live and I just kind of share best practices and tips and tricks and kind of explain the current remote job landscape and try to help people get remote jobs. That's basically the purpose of this webinar and it's kind of what I do here. So give me just a moment here. Give me just a second here. 1 second. All right. All right. Let's see. I think we're good now. I need to get my headset here. I should probably prepare a little bit more before going into these, but nonetheless, hey, we're learning as we go. This is just how we do it, So, okay, good deal. So, yep. So I do these webinars, like I was saying earlier. I do these webinars to help people out, kind of understand how to get remote jobs. Just kind of using some of the methods that I've used, and then just a lot of research that I've done, and trial and error, and different coaches and softwares and all these things that I've used, and different recruiters that I know, people in my network, hiring managers that I know that I've been friends with. I've kind of gotten a lot of their secrets and best practices, HR people that I know as well, and just kind of compile a lot of good information and apply it to a strategy that has helped me get remote jobs over the past couple of years pretty consistently. And a little bit about me and my story here. I've been working remotely for the past couple of years since 2020. When COVID hit, I went remote and I kind of left the corporate world, the in-office corporate setting, and I started working remotely. And kind of discovered a little bit more when it comes to travel and whatnot. And I've been posting my journey and my stories on social media, and it's, so I'm assuming that's why a lot of you are here now. And yeah, so a couple years ago, I was trapped in a cubicle. I was burnt out. I was fighting traffic and just dreaming of more. So when COVID hit, I got into remote work and kind of learned how to bob and weave and kind of adapt to the modern landscape of finding remote jobs. And through social media, I've been able to grow a bit of a following. And the main reason why I'm even doing any of this is I get a lot of questions about remote work, like, Rich, hey, how do you do what you're doing? How do you travel and still make income? And yada yada yada. And through a lot of those questions and comments that I've gotten, DMs and so forth, like, I put together a course. I put together information on how to help people out, because basically, if you don't know what I did, basically you know, moved to Mexico, right? I packed up and I moved to Mexico full time. I got my, I'm good in both countries. I have my residency in both countries, right? So I can go back and forth as I please, but I work remotely. So I've been traveling to Mexico over the past couple of years. I really love it there, and just decided to make it my home. And I started posting about that on social media. And again, I get a lot of questions and comments about, what do you do for work? How do you maintain the lifestyle? How do you make income? I want to do the same thing. I have this going on. I want to be able to do this. So I live in here and I live in there, and I need to be able to make money. I need to find a remote job. Where do you go? Da, da, da. Seriously, thousands of comments and questions like this almost every day, every single day. So I'm trying my best here to help people out. I put together a mini course where you can kind of learn step-by-step process of exactly what I do. And I also do these kind of webinars here to help people out, just to get a better idea, to let you know, So for the mini course comes with a lot of video modules. It comes with a private community where you can get daily job postings, where you can get, access to different members, and people are sharing their wins and best practices. There's a lot of tools that I share in there as well. So you get a lot of information, and you get a lot of value for honestly what it costs. It's really not that much, but I'll drop the link here in the comments so you guys can see that there. But I'm going to go ahead and kind of proceed here. But yeah, basically, I was working in office corporate lifestyle, went remote due to COVID, started discovering travel, moved to a whole new country, maintained remote work the entire time, and just kind of share my best practices on what's worked for me specifically, and then also kind of what's worked for other people that I know that are remote workers, other people that I know that are in charge of hiring for remote jobs, kind of understanding what works and what doesn't. And I think that was a huge game changer for me. And I think that a lot of people are just making some kind of common and simple mistakes out there. So it's okay. That's why I'm here, to try to help out, or at least contribute to the solution a little bit. And just trying to help people out. So who is this for, right? Who is this webinar for, right? This is for people that are just interested in finding remote jobs. So if you're new to remote work, if you're trying to pivot careers, if you're returning to work, or if you're kind of already in the process of applying for jobs and you're just not getting very far, this is for you. A lot of people I also know recently have started tuning into, me and kind of this whole, finding remote work thing, because they are living in other countries. I recently did a webinar for MexicoRelocationGuide.com, and also did a webinar for PanamaRelocationTours.com. So I was able to speak to audiences in Mexico, people that are relocating to Mexico and still need to maintain income for whatever reason, and then same thing for people in Panama as well. And I think this strategy will work for anybody in the world. It's not just limited to the U.S. So, and I think the difference here is that, just honestly, it's just applying at the right places for the kind of global remote work type of approach. You got to look at you got to fish in the right ponds. You got to be fishing in the right ponds, searching in the right job boards, and applying at the right types of companies that are okay with your situation. If you're living in another country or living anywhere in the world, it's not that big of a deal, right? It's because it's about the value that you bring to the company. It's about the impact that you're bringing to the organization, and based on what you've done professionally as well. But I think a lot of people like the idea of working remotely, traveling, and making income, and it's awesome. It's been a game changer for me. It's been life changing for me. The social media has been a really huge accelerator for that, big life changing event. But for the most part, I think most people really just want to be able to travel freely and make money online. Now, the people that want to stay in places long term, the biggest missing piece to their puzzle is the income part, right? Because you either have to already have that established remote job where you have money coming in, or you have to have a big savings or some big net worth, right? In order to get your visa, a lot of countries require some sort of net worth requirements when you're applying for visas. Don't quote me on every single country's visa policy. That's not my expertise. It's not what I'm talking about here today. If you have questions on any immigration stuff, go to mexicorelocationguide.com for Mexico. And if you're interested in anything with Panama related items, visas, work visas, permits, stuff like that, go check out PanamaRelocationTours.com. They can help you out with that kind of stuff. But for what I'm talking about, finding remote jobs in 2025, you just need to be looking at the right places. You need to be looking at the right places and know when you find that job or when you find that role that's interesting to you and you feel really confident and comfortable applying for that role, knowing that you have a high likelihood of getting that, you need to know exactly how to put together a resume pretty quickly in order to submit that thing as fast as possible. Because it's a numbers game. It's speed to lead. When you see a new job posting, first of all, you need to have something set up to notify you of that job posting, because the alternative is you going and just manually searching for jobs out there and seeing what's kind of out there. You got an hour or two, you poking in and kind of seeing. You need to, when you're going about your day and you're really trying to make this happen for yourself, because it's a big piece. It's a big piece of the pie here. It's having that remote income. If you're serious and you really want to do it, you need to take it seriously and really put in a solid effort. And I kind of talk about that in the course as well. So um, yeah, you just need to be looking in the right places, and you need to be ready to submit a solid application that is going to get past a lot of the challenges and hurdles that are designed to filter you out, right? So it's very competitive these days. So but yeah, that's who this is for. If you're new to remote work, if you're trying to pivot, if you're returning to work, and you're just not you're not getting anywhere, right? And that happened to me too. I was applying to a lot of places. I wasn't getting any response. I was getting more. I was getting. It was getting to the point where I was, and we can talk about this a little bit later, but I was getting auto rejected within like a minute or two of applying for these jobs that I was applying to, and I was like, "What is going on? Something isn't right." And I felt that way because the roles that I was applying for, I was like a perfect candidate for that role. And I even knew people that worked at the organization who were gonna, be there and kind of intercept the application and put in talk to somebody in HR or whatever, right? Like, but the fact that I got auto rejected immediately, I was like, okay, something's not right here. I'm doing something wrong, and I need to figure out what that is right now. So that's kind of where my brain goes in, and I'm like, problem solving, problem solving. I got to figure this out right now and make this work. So, anywho, let's get a little bit further. So we talked about this just a second ago, right? Why do people fail in this job search, the finding remote jobs? First of all, it's a very competitive market right now. It's even more competitive than it's ever been. You're literally fighting against every other person who wants a remote job, every other well-qualified person who wants a remote job, and then you're also competing with this little technology called AI. AI is a great tool. It helps with a lot of stuff, but it also helps with a lot of stuff. And sometimes the jobs and roles that people were doing are kind of no longer needed when an AI can do the exact same thing faster, quicker, consistently. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people just simply get ignored when they're doing their job search because they're kind of taking a spray and pray approach, and they're not really customizing the resumes. First of all, they have a bad resume. And let me kind of tell you my story on that. So let's talk about this for a second. Let me just kind of explain what I'm talking about here. So getting ignored, bad resumes, they're listing their tasks as instead of their impact, and they're not really optimizing anything like their resume, keywords, nothing, right? So this is what I was doing also in the beginning. I created a resume one day. I sat down and said, you know what, I'm going to update my resume. I'm going to create a good resume to just put on out there. So I did that, and I put what I thought was great, and I went back and I looked at all the jobs I had and did all these things, and then I submitted that resume that I thought was the best. That resume got me auto rejections within a couple of minutes from every single role that I applied to. And I was thinking and kind of realizing, like, what am I doing wrong? So I started to look at a different approach, and that's when I started to kind of hire coaches and kind of pay for different softwares and courses and stuff like that too, to kind of learn what the heck I'm doing wrong, because it was incredibly motivating to me to not have to go back to the office. Like I was not going to go back to the office if not going to go back to the office. So I'm going to do and learn and adapt and try to figure this thing out so I can continue to stay remote. So that's what I did. But yeah, so I was getting ignored, I was getting auto rejected, and basically, there's a way to kind of beat these bots. If you don't know what ATS bots are, it's applicant tracking softwares. That's what ATS stands for. And just about every single employer has those now. So when you see a job that you like, you go and apply on the website, the corporate website, or you apply through whatever job board that you found. We'll talk about job boards here in a second. But when you are applying through the website, that portal that you're applying through already has a filter built in. The second that you submit your application, it scans your resume, it scores you, it ranks you, and then it gives you a thumbs up or thumbs down. You don't make it to a human until like later on in the process. So getting past that automated software filter and knowing how that works and knowing how to get past it and knowing how to kind of gamify it a little bit is step one. Step one is getting past the bots. So I talk about how to do that. There's several different ways to do it, and every company is different. So don't think that there's just one way to do it all. Like every company is different, every software is different, and every role has different filters attached to it. So every job posting is going to have different filters to it. So I just, I mentioned that because what I'm about to talk about and what I talk about in the course is really important to getting past and getting through those filters. So basically, what you want to do is, and I'll kind of touch on it. You want to basically you want to use the job posting itself as your source of data to get past those filters. You want to optimize your specific resume to what's included in that job description, specific keywords, things like that, to optimize your resume to be able to submit it and get past those bots. And I talk about how to do that in the program that I offer. But just know that that's the reason why you're either going to get auto rejected right off the bat. It's because honestly your resume is just getting blocked. It's getting stopped, and it could be a matter of just you having a generic resume, but it could also be the type of file type that you submit to. Believe it or not, sometimes those filters will just only look for specific formatted types of resumes, specific file types. So it gets as nitty gritty as that sometimes. So another reason why people fail is that they're just making strategic mistakes in their approach, or they don't have an approach, or they don't have a process when they're going and applying for jobs. Like they're just going on Indeed, typing in remote, looking at, oh, that looks like a cool job. Go ahead and apply to that real quick. And they'll do that 5 times a day or 5 times a week and be like, oh, I didn't get a call, man. I've been applying to remote jobs. I'm never going to get hired. It doesn't work. That's an example of strategic mistake, in my opinion. So making sure that you're looking on the right websites, making sure that you're looking at the right roles for you, and then making sure that you're looking at the right types of companies. So, what people are doing is that, in my opinion, they're looking at the wrong types of websites, they're looking at the wrong roles, and they're looking at the wrong companies. So there are websites and job boards that are built for volume, meaning those companies get paid off of the companies that post those jobs, right? It's not really intended to find the right type of fit for the person that's actually applying for the job, if that makes sense. Like the company's so big that it's not about the person applying for the job, it's the thousands of companies that are paying these websites to post their jobs to get access to thousands of applicants, right? It's a business at that point. But there are websites out there that are dedicated and focused on advertising and promoting 100% remote jobs. And those are the websites that I've had success with. And if I had to go find a new job today or tomorrow, those are the websites I would jump on right now. I wouldn't hop on the big ones. It's a waste of time, in my opinion, and based on what I've seen and experienced. Wrong roles. So people are, they're applying for the wrong roles, meaning that they either just simply don't have the skills, they don't have the background, or it's not really part of their niche, right? So that's pretty common. Regardless of this, I think people just it just goes back to that spray and pray approach, that method where it's just, oh, I saw this cool job, I'm gonna apply for it, hope it works out. You need to be specialized because these remote companies, these remote forward type of companies, a lot of them are tech companies. Like they're bigger tech companies now, and you need to understand that like those tech companies are looking for people that are going to help them build. Sometimes they're startups, sometimes they're massive companies, but either way, they're still building. They're still building, and they are looking for people that are going to come in and make an impact. So the best way you can come in and make an impact is be a specialist in the role or a specialist in the type of work that they're hiring for. Um, and a lot of people just don't really take that in consideration. There's a tech company for just about everything now, and I talk to a lot of people that, worked in, in industries like healthcare, where they worked in a hospital for years, or they were a mechanic, or maybe they're in the military or something like that. Um, Understanding your niche, understanding how your skills are transferable, and then applying for those niche roles or those types of roles that fit the background and expertise that you have, and then putting together a nice story and a resume and everything, and applying on the right websites, and kind of illustrating and showing the kind of impact that you're going to be able to make and what you've done at past companies is really what helps people get remote jobs these days. And then the wrong companies. So here's the thing with remote work. There are 100% remote jobs, and then there are work from home jobs. Work from home jobs are jobs where you work from home. They won't let you leave. They won't let you leave your house, just like they won't let you leave the office until it's time to go. And you have to know how to filter the work from home type. Unless you want a work from home job, that's fine. That's good. Do your thing. There's more out there like that. But if you're looking for like something where you can travel the world or live in another country or be in a different part of the world and it never really being an issue, you need to find 100% remote forward companies that embrace remote culture and that are going to, you know, give you a shot, right? Hire you, whatever the case is. So um, I get a lot of questions from people about like call center type of jobs, customer service type of roles, and those types of companies that hire for that type of work, customer service or whatever, they hire in mass. They hire these big call center teams. And I don't know if you ever worked for a call center before, but I've worked for call centers before in office and outside of, remotely. And they keep a leash on you. They want to know everything that you're doing. If you step away from your computer, if you go to the bathroom, they're going to time you, that kind of stuff. So very low likelihood that they're going to just allow you to be 100% remote. So you have to kind of know what you're applying for and kind of go out there and put together a good strategy. And that's kind of what I help with in the course that I offer. Another reason why people fail is that they just don't have any in-demand skills. Like I mentioned earlier, a lot of these remote companies are tech companies or marketing companies. Marketing companies have typically always been remote, right? And they're super remote friendly, super remote forward. Marketing, think about it like somebody who's really good at being creative or being good at driving sales or something like that. You don't have to be in an office for that. Like you can be on a computer and do exactly like what I'm doing right now, being hosting a live webinar or doing something to kind of present value virtually. So, yeah, in-demand skills. Tech companies, you can go on websites like, what is it, Udemy, stuff like that, and you can get certificates. You can get professional certificates. You can learn new skills. So, like, if you're in a situation where, like, maybe you're returning to work, you haven't been working in a couple of years or something like that, and you're looking at your your resume, you're looking at your background, you need to learn some new skills, check out some sort of professional certificate, right? There's a lot of cool stuff that's happening right now with technology and AI and all this stuff, and it's not too late. Anybody can learn, and having in-demand skills is really important these days, just to have something that's refreshed. If you haven't been on the workforce in a while, I think it's really important to have something like that. Shows that you're like capable and able to get in and start making some stuff happen. And then even if you've been working the entire time and you're trying to get into remote work, like it's still good to have some sort of professional certificate. So some sort of in-demand skills, and a lot of those websites will tell you what's in demand. Some of them will tell you like what the salary is and stuff like that. Like Coursera is a good one. Coursera is a good one that I've used. I have certificates in like Google, like data analytics. I have certificates in AI prompt engineering. I have certificates in data marketing science, things like that, storytelling from different like universities, right? So I have several different certificates, project management, what else? And sales management, sales operations, stuff like that, right? Like, and I did that on purpose so that way when I go and apply for my jobs, I can talk about those certificates. I can talk about what I learned. I can talk about how I've applied those in different roles and different projects that I've worked on and the impact and result that came from that type of stuff, right? So that kind of information is super helpful as well. So I recommend doing that. But um, you'd be surprised, like a lot of times you may already have some pretty in-demand transferable skills that you may not recognize or may not know about. So I talk about how to kind of extract that from, your resume or your background or whatever. And there's a specific way I leverage AI to kind of help people understand some of their strengths and skills. I've done consultation calls with people and they're like, oh my God, I didn't even know you could do that. First of all, I didn't know you could do that with AI. And then second of all, that's really cool. I didn't even think about that, right? So there's a lot of really great ways to use technology and kind of understand, what's in demand for yourself. So that way you can go out there and find your niche, get certificates in that, and then also start applying for the right types of companies, right types of roles, the right types of websites. So another thing, the reason why people fail is that they, game the system. They're not really applying for 100% roles. There's no online presence. They don't have any kind of professional, personal brand. The LinkedIn is not there, or it hasn't been updated. It's not optimized for keyword search, things like that. And then there's just no urgency, right? Like I talk about spray and pray. Not having a process, no urgency, and I'm serious about that. That's a big part of this as well. So knowing what to do, knowing exactly how to do it, and then being consistent with it, showing up and kind of doing what you need to do to get this remote job that you want so bad, right? It's just what you got to do because they're not going to fall out of the sky, and it's such a competitive market right now that you have to outwork people. You have to get in there and really make some things happen. It's a combination of taking your approach and applying, using really specific techniques to get in there and apply for different jobs, but then also networking while you're doing that, being online, being present online, like you have to, this is what you have to do now. You can't just submit some regular old resume that you had, dust it off, and no one cares about that anymore, right? It's too saturated, too competitive, and there's just too many tools out here now to to spend time, like you just you got to get in there, really work. So but that's why people are failing. So how to win? First of all, I talked about it earlier. Beat the bots, right? You got to beat those bots. Once you get a good resume together that's specific to the job that you're applying for, that's specific to the role and the niche that you're interested in, that you can go in there and make a difference and an impact. That's a 100% remote job that for a fact that it's 100% remote, not a work from home. You submit your resume, you beat the bots, right? Submit for apply for 100% remote jobs, and then just stay focused on what you're working on. Spray and pray. You've got to make a system. You got an hour a day you can dedicate if you're on your lunch breaks. Set up alerts so these jobs are coming to you, so that way when you do have time, you can just go in and start applying right away. There's even tools that I talk about that will there's tools that I talk about that will scan the web for jobs that are relevant to your search criteria. It'll find those jobs. It'll create a resume for every single one of those jobs, and then will apply for you. So there's all kinds of stuff out there that can help you out. So I go through and I talk about this this method in detail a little bit in my course, but I'm just going to give you guys a little rundown here of it, kind of show you what it looks like. I include proven resume templates to help you find remote jobs. I talk about how to use AI to get to extract the right keywords from the job description. I talk about how to put together a cover letter. I talk about bullet point formatting. I talk about reverse engineering for gaps and errors. I talk about submitting applications. I talk about a lot of stuff in there, right? So this is just a PDF of kind of what I've put together. You can go check out that course link, but yeah, it's a really helpful tool. I've used it. The people that are in the group right now are getting results. People are getting interviews. They've already got job offers out there, and I get messages all the time about it. So yeah, it works if you work it. And Yeah. So I don't really see anybody on the call here. Nobody's chiming in, but I was going to open it up for Q&A. But if I don't have a lot of people on here, I can go ahead and just end this now. But I will. Let's see here. Yeah. What is that? But yeah. So I guess closing thoughts, closing comments on this are, there's so much opportunity for remote work. There really is. I know that the headlines are always like, oh, people are going back to the office. It's return to work. This company's laying these people off. Or this company's, demanding everybody go back to the office. Forget all that. Who cares? Forget about that. Those are these big, massive companies, the Amazons. I don't never apply to those companies. I go for companies where I know I'm going to be able to make an impact. I know that they're going to be 100% remote, and that I know that I'm going to have a good chance of getting hired there. And every time that I take that approach, I get hired. Right. But I also have a pipeline also. I don't just apply to one job and wait around for them to call me. No, I take control of what I'm trying to do and I apply to all these different jobs that are fitting my criteria. I stay busy. I reach out to them. I connect with them. I follow up. My resume, I get calls back. I get recruiters reaching out to me. When I'm in full job search mode, I get recruiters reaching out to me. So that's what you want. And that's what I offer. That's the strategic approach that I offer, and it works. So, but yeah, there's a lot of opportunity out there. And honestly, like remote work changed my life. It really did. I mean, I'm in Mexico right now. I'm in Playa del Carmen. I'm going to probably go walk the beach a little bit after this and just kind of enjoy my time here. And I would not be able to do any of this. I wouldn't have been able to, move to a new country. I wouldn't have been able to start posting on social media. I wouldn't have been able to start doing these webinars if I wouldn't have taken the time to do what I needed to do in order to land the remote job, to take care of that big missing piece of what I wanted to do, which was create a new lifestyle, live in a new country, and design the life that I wanted to. So what I will say is that opportunities are still out there. You just got to take a different approach or a strategic approach, and that's kind of what I offer. Just step by step. Here's what to do. Go out and get it. So the link's in there in the chat. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You know where to follow me, and you can sign up for the free guide. I also offer a free guide on my website here. Let me walk through it real quick, and let's see if we can take a little uh, walkthrough on it just so you can kind of see it. So this is the website. It looks a little bit different on mobile, but you can go in here. It talks about here's a webinar that I did with Mexico Relocation Guide. It talks about some information that we talked about here on the webinar, and there's a free guide here. If you click on this green button, you can go in here and answer this little short questionnaire, and you'll instantly get a download. You can check out about how to get remote jobs, or the 5-step blueprint that I offer, and then you'll get probably a couple other emails from me as well. But the course I offer is only $37, and if you want, I can knock off $10 now just to give you a little discount. It's $10 off, but you can go in here and you can book a call if you want to, and then you'll get added to the private Discord group as well. So. But anywho, yeah, I'm going to do these calls pretty weekly, once or twice a week, just to kind of educate and stay in touch with people. So if you have any questions, feel free to give me a holler. I'll be around. And it's Friday. Happy Friday. Have a good weekend, and see you next week. Adios.